Money FM 89.3, the best of Saturday mornings. Wide World on Money FM 89.3.
We are back with Mark Winterton. He is the Director of Operations for Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, and the Maldives for IHG Hotels and Resorts. You may know Crown Plaza and some of the other ones. They've done a couple of things. Recently, they did a white paper on travel, and then they did some research revealing Singaporeans' demands when it comes to travel and their preferences. Mark, good morning. Welcome to the show. Great to have you with us.
Good morning. It's really good to be here and be with you all.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
You know, you've been at IHG for 30 years, so you have seen it all, done it all, experienced it all. And now we're in an age where we're talking about blended travel. Tell our listeners, what does that actually mean from where you sit at IHG?
Well, I think it's the new era of travel, right? There's always been this piece about getting the most out of a trip that you go on. And, you know, we did some surveys with YouGov, and what we've sort of seen is that there are three key reasons to that encouraging blended travel today, particularly amongst the Singaporeans. I think the first 56% of the respondents sort of said that they want to allow to explore new destinations, to go to places that they haven't had. And that's where, you know, that business might take you. I mean, I moved here 18 years ago, and we have a general managers conference every year. And personally, I've got to go to some amazing places that wouldn't be on that bucket list. It wouldn't be the first couple of places. You know, when I first came here, I wound up, we went and had the GM conference in Shenzhen. I'd never been there. It wasn't somewhere that I was going to go to immediately.
How many years ago was that, roughly?
That would have been 17, 16 years ago. You're making me feel very old now.
No, but I mean, it is a completely different city now, Shenzhen.
Completely.
Than it was, 15, 20 years ago.
But it's something you get to see that areas that you don't get to go to, you know. 42% of the Singaporeans were sort of saying that it really increases their happiness and makes work more enjoyable by sort of doing blended travel.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Sorry, I was just going to add to that. So we're moving away, it seems, Mark, from this idea, the cliche, you would go on business, you'd never leave the hotel room,
Correct.
You'd order room service, the only view of the city you got was through the window of your hotel room. That is completely changing.
It is changing. You know, people are wanting different things. People are taking their partners or their best friends or who it might be away. And, you know, the hotels are having to adapt and change to that, you know. So we are introducing more, you know, we see the evolution of some of our properties.
In what way?
Well, let me take our beautiful, iconic Crown Plaza.
It is beautiful, yeah.
So 18 years ago, I was brought over here to open it. So I was the original
Has it
general
been 18
manager.
years already?
Well, it's been 17 years because we did a year pre-opening. So when I came out, Terminal 3 was still being built.
Yeah,
the
of course.
hotel was going up. And that hotel, when it was first built, was really around sort of the rest and recovery. It was around, you know, the jet lag, people flying through the kangaroo routes. It was a transient route. The hotel has evolved. It's got a second wing. We've just finished a sort of another makeover on the public areas. And we've put in a lot of new things. It's not more flexible working spaces. There's a big new restaurant on the ground floor called Allura that's got indoor and outdoor areas.
Oh, is that right?
So we're really creating new spaces. But we're not also creating the spaces for the guests, we're creating them for the team. So actually the general manager has put in a gym back of house for the staff to be able to use. There's a Zen room, but there's a learning and development area for the team. So again, it's that blending piece where it's not just about travel, it's also about what our team wants as well.
Well, it's interesting because over the years, I have clients from my media training business that are in Changi Business Park. And we've used your hotel. The conference space is beautiful there. We've used your hotel to do training sessions in the hotel at the airport, which just is weird, right? But it's what, you know, it's a great location. It's convenient, and the facilities are really good for that conference side of it. Are you seeing conference mice business there as well?
Yeah, and we saw that from the beginning, the beautiful ballroom there. You know, we were doing 100+ weddings there as well. You know, it became a real place that was not just going to be a hotel that was around the sort of recovery or the transit piece. You know, it became a very big corporate market hotel. And also staycations. You know, when I was there, one year we had about 11% of our business was people going to spend the weekend or the holidays or days off.
COVID or whatever.
Yeah, you got to be able to sort of see the runway. You know, we know that Changi Airport is institution in its own right in this country.
Yeah. Pop over to the Jewel and see a movie, eat some food, whatever, right? Yeah.
You know, I think the most drawn picture by kids at school is the control tower.
Yeah, I can believe that. Yeah, I can believe that. It's iconic.
Yeah, and you know, you see families there, and it surprised me. I come from the UK, right? You know,
you're not going to Heathrow for a staycation.
Let's not talk about Heathrow, right? But I would never dream of ever going to Heathrow for a day out.
Yeah.
Most people don't want to go there for a flight.
for a flight out, let alone a day out.
Absolutely.
So tell us a bit more about, you've got some great data points about how in Singapore particularly, our priorities are shifting in terms of what we want to do, what business people want to do, what travellers want to do, that kind of thing.
So I think if we're talking about the priorities for travel experience, again, it's about flexibility. It offers blended travel influences happiness at work. You know, we want our people to be happy at work. It's about better work-life balances and reducing the stress levels for the employees as well. You know, if you look at some of the statistics, 48% said that, you know, it makes the trip more affordable if you're doing blended travel, right? Yeah. You know, you tag on an extra day. You know, this general manager conference I've talked about, you know, you do see that some of our GMs will spend a couple more days in that destination. Yeah. It becomes a trip to make it more affordable. But also, when we're looking at the hotel spaces and the facilities, it's around making sure that, you know, if you are bringing a partner and you're working, that, you know, we've got the facilities to be able to support them as well, you know, so they're not sort of in a boxed hotel. You know, we've got great restaurants, we've got spaces, we've got, you know, interesting things in the city to do, and help creating some of those pieces.
Yeah. We're talking with Mark Winterton, the Director of Operations for Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, and the Maldives for IHG Hotels and Resorts. You will have seen the Crowne Plaza Hotel out at Changi Airport. That is his property. Let's talk about the white paper a little bit more. There's kind of 4 pillars that you looked at the white paper that you did about blended travel. There was improving and growing mind and body, personal travel economy, international togetherness. Why did you decide that these 4 were the ones, I mean, out of all the things you could have chosen, why were those coming kind of to the fore for you for this white paper?
So this is the second white paper we've done for Crowne Plaza. We did one back in 2022, post-COVID.
And the world has changed a lot.
And the world has significantly changed a lot since then. And I think, you know, if I can talk through each of these 4 pillars.
Just give us a highlight of each one. Yeah.
But a lot of this came from the research that we'd been doing. So we talk about improve and grow. So this is about travellers linking business blended travel to effect efforts to improve their personal and professional skills, right?
And they're doing that while they're travelling.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's about recognising the benefits, you know, of that employment as well. I mean, to give you an example, every time you go to somewhere, you know, you learn things. You talk to the people on the team. You got to understand cultures. You know, I have 4 countries I look after, and every time I go to the different countries, you know, I spend time with the team. I spend time understanding that culture, the environment that they work in. That helps me better. It helps my professional skills. You know, it also allows me to have more meaningful conversations. So when I meet people, you know, the places I've got to, it's a commonality talking point as well. So, you know, we do see people taking, the culture, exploring the city, also doing cooking classes. So all of these sorts of things help grow and develop and improve, both personally and professionally.
Nice.
So how does that help your sort of what you prepare for your guests, this survey? Is it simply a case of more day trips, more excursions, more cultural experiences? How does this data benefit you at your hotel chain?
So we understand the data, and that's just one piece of the pillars. And when we sort of, you know, evolve our properties, so I talked about Crowne Plaza Changi Airport and how that's evolved over the years. You know, we're continuously evolving. You know, we're opening hotels. We've got 10 Crowne Plazas in the pipeline for Southeast Asia. We've got 11 open at the moment. We opened a couple, you know, the last couple of years. We opened Crowne Plaza in KL. And also Crowne Plaza Penang. And again, each as we open, we're putting more and more things in to be able to help that. We have a great meeting and concierge department who will tailor make, proposals for you to be able to help get the best out of your trip with us and learn.
Yeah.
And it's putting things that are interesting to the guest so that the guest feels that they take something part of them away.
Fantastic.
One of these pillars, I think it's the fourth one. It's called intentional togetherness.
Yeah.
And I was curious to see that, talking about increasing quality time with loved ones and blending business and face to face. What does that look like for IHG? I can imagine what it's like if you're in the Maldives. Like, that's not a hard one at all. But some of these city environments, and if somebody is coming on a work trip, there's a lot of pressure around getting the job done and not staying a long time just because costs involved and time and all that. So what does that look like?
So I think if you go back to some of the research that we did, about taking your partners or your blended travel. So first of all, I think back in 22, we realized that, cross-generational was becoming huge, grandparents going away with grandkids and the people wanting to be together. We live in a world now that a lot of is living online. We see people online. So there is this real piece about how we can connect people. I'm in KL next week. I'm on a business trip. I'm going and I've got, back-to-back. But, I'm catching up with one of my friends who is living in KL. I haven't seen for a while. Yeah. We talk online, but it's making those opportunities to be able to do that. We do have packages where it's bring your bestie, take your friend with you. And we're encouraging blended travel.
Yeah. No, I see that. If I get an opportunity to take my wife along or even my daughter, I do it, right? And that's the key thing. So what do you think moving forward for the Crowne Plaza and your brand generally? What do you see are the trends opening up in Singapore and across the region?
So there's a few trends. Obviously, blended travel will continue. I think flexibility it offers, it's the work-life balance, it's all of those pieces. It's be able to make that feel a bit better. We see the different generations about blended travel. And there's two questions really that go in with blended travel, is those who want to do it and those who are doing it.
Right.
So we actually see that Gen Z are the ones that most want to do it, with a 58% wanting to do it. But actually the millennials, 28% are already doing. So the millennials are the ones that are doing it the most.
Yeah.
Gen Zs are the people who want to do it the most. Gen X and baby boomers are the ones that are, we're quietly getting into it. And I think we see a lot of that, particularly with the ones who, the kids have left the home, they're going away on a business trip. They're taking their spouse with them. So we're sort of seeing some of those coming forward, really.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Well, it's a great topic and obviously an important one for our listeners, many of whom are on the road quite often. Yeah. Like you said yourself, you're heading out this week going to KL, a common trip for people, more and more a day trip for a lot of folks, right? They don't even need to stay overnight necessarily. But Mark, we're going to leave it there for now. Mark Winterton, the Director of Operations for Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, and the Maldives for IHG Hotels. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you. Yeah. Really appreciate your time.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.